Have you ever felt as if something invisible is blocking your growth, as though a hidden force keeps you stuck in the same place in life? And what if I told you there's a powerful technique used by spiritual masters and validated by visionary neuroscientists that can instantly shift your vibrational field, and that it was silenced for precisely that reason? A practice so effective at reprogramming your mind and aligning your energy with the frequency of abundance that it was discredited, ridiculed, and hidden from the public for decades. But today you're going to learn it. In this video, we'll unveil the band technique that Jacobo Grinberg studied in depth, and that has the power to transform not only what you feel, but the reality you experience. Prepare for a journey of awakening and vibrational expansion. Comment below, "I allow my vibration to align with my highest destiny," and feel the doors of transformation begin to open. Jacobo Grinberg was not just a scientist. He was one of the greatest explorers of the human mind the world has ever known. Trained in psychology and neurophysiology, he devoted decades to researching consciousness, perception, and non-ordinary realities. Yet, unlike traditional science, Grinberg dared to cross boundaries. He feared no immersion into the ancestral knowledge of shamans, altered states of consciousness, and the invisible forces that shape reality. His most revolutionary theory was the neuronal field, an invisible matrix connecting our perception to the fabric of the universe. According to him, external reality isn't something fixed and separate from us, but a direct projection of our mental and vibrational patterns. That means changing your inner vibration alters the reality you live in. What Grinberg discovered unsettled many. His mysterious disappearance in 1994 fueled suspicions and theories that he'd uncovered something he shouldn't have. And it is precisely this technique, studied by him, practiced by sages of ancient traditions, and shunned by modern institutions, that you will learn now. A simple practice with the potential to reprogram your mind and shift your frequency in minutes. Everything in the universe vibrates. Every atom, every cell, every thought is an energetic manifestation with its own specific frequency. This is one of the fundamental laws of reality, long understood only by spiritual traditions, and now at last beginning to be recognized by science. When we speak of a vibrational field, we're not indulging in mystical metaphor, but describing the precise invisible fabric that underlies all things. Grinberg called this structure the neuronal field, an informational matrix linking our consciousness to reality. He argued that the world we perceive is a projection generated by this field interacting with our minds. That means our perception of reality, including health, relationships, opportunities, and even money, is fundamentally shaped by the frequency at which we vibrate. If your vibration is dense, rooted in fear, scarcity, or doubt, you'll perceive a world that confirms those emotions. But if your vibration rises, filled with confidence, gratitude, and presence, your reality will begin to reorganize around that. This idea resonates with quantum physics, which shows that the observer influences the observed. Matter is not a solid, static structure, but a possibility that behaves differently depending on the focus of consciousness. This reinforces Grinberg's view. Reality isn't absolute. It responds to your vibration. Vibration is determined primarily by your dominant emotional and mental state. When you live in constant alertness, anxiety, anger, or resentment, your field collapses and emits signals of disharmony. On the other hand, when you cultivate serenity, love, forgiveness, and acceptance, your frequency rises, and with it, your ability to attract experiences aligned with that new vibration. Imagine, for instance, that you are a radio station. If you're tuned to 88.5 FM, it doesn't matter how much you want to hear a song on 105.7 FM, you simply won't pick up that frequency. The same goes for abundance, health, or love. Wanting alone isn't enough. You must vibrate at the frequency of what you desire. That's why, before any technique can work, it's essential to recognize that you're already creating your reality all the time, consciously or unconsciously. The difference lies in taking control of this process and learning to deliberately direct your vibration. That's the first step to accessing the technique revealed by Grinberg, and also why it's so powerful. Because once you understand that everything is frequency, you realize nothing is beyond your reach. The only question is, what frequency are you emitting right now? If reality can be shaped by the human mind, why isn't this information taught in schools? Why do so many people live disconnected from their own creative power? The answer is uncomfortable but necessary, because there's a system that benefits from your limitation. The technique you're about to learn was, in many respects, banned, not because it's dangerous, but because it's liberating, and societies built on control cannot survive when individuals awaken to their true power. Grinberg understood this. His studies on the neuronal field not only challenged classical neuroscience models, but also touched on something profound: the human capacity to create realities through consciousness. He asserted that a well-trained mind can reconfigure the structure of lived experience, and that threatened everything from educational models to economic and religious systems. Imagine a world where everyone understands that their inner frequency defines their destiny, a world where competition, manipulation, and blind obedience are no longer necessary for survival, a world where humans consciously access intuition, creativity, and manifestation power. Such a world would be impossible to control. That's why techniques like this have been discredited, ridiculed, or simply ignored. The dominant culture prefers to keep people locked in cycles of fear, guilt, and scarcity, because those who vibrate at a low frequency are easily manipulated. When you're tired, anxious, or desperate, you're more likely to overconsume, believe unquestioningly, accept jobs you hate, stay in dependent relationships, and repeat destructive patterns as if they were normal. The technique Grinberg studied is a game changer because it breaks this structure. It teaches that reality isn't imposed from the outside in, but created from the inside out. That means there are no victims, only unconscious or conscious creators, and awakening this consciousness doesn't serve systems built on collective passivity. Moreover, it's important to understand that what's forbidden isn't always officially banned. Sometimes prohibition takes the form of forgetting. Simply don't teach it, don't publicize it, don't invest in it. Marginalizing knowledge is a subtle and effective form of control. And that's exactly what happened to Grinberg's teachings after his disappearance. Today, however, this knowledge returns, stronger, clearer, and more necessary than ever. The banned technique is back, and you're about to learn how to apply it. But first, you need to know when it should be used for maximum power. And that leads us to the next crucial point: the ideal moment for vibrational reprogramming. There is a time of day when access to your subconscious becomes more direct, more receptive, more vulnerable to the suggestions you plant. It's at that moment that Jacobo Grinberg's revealed technique becomes most effective, its effects almost inevitable. This moment requires no effort or complex rituals. It happens every day, and you may be wasting it without realizing. We're talking about the hypnagogic state, the transition between wakefulness and sleep. When you lie down and begin to relax, your brain shifts out of beta frequencies, associated with logic and critical thinking, and gradually enters alpha waves and finally theta. That's exactly the same dominant frequency in young children, who absorb everything without filtering, forming the beliefs that will define their adult lives. In this state, the subconscious is open, without resistance. Everything you think, feel, or affirm in this transition is absorbed as truth. Grinberg identified this moment as a breach between the rational self and the field of pure potentiality. He called it the point of perceptual dissolution, where the mind stops filtering reality as a fixed structure and begins to interact directly with the neuronal field. In other words, it's in this state that reality begins to be reshaped from the inside out. But what do most people do in that moment? They recall problems, relive arguments, feel fear of the future, or feed regrets about the past, or they fall asleep scrolling through social media, consuming content that triggers fear, comparison, or discouragement. And all of that is absorbed as programming. Now imagine the opposite, using this sacred instant to plant images of power, alignment phrases, feelings of safety and gratitude. Imagine falling asleep, visualizing yourself living the life you desire, feeling genuine emotions of confidence, prosperity, and health. Whatever the subconscious accepts as truth is transformed into direction, behavior, and attraction, and what's fed repeatedly becomes inevitable. That is the secret behind the vibrational reprogramming technique. You don't need to force change, you just need to use it at the right moment. During the hypnagogic state, effort gives way to gentle influence, and affirmations act like seeds that sprout in the fertile soil of the unconscious mind. Great mystics and researchers, like Neville Goddard, whom Grinberg mentioned, also spoke of this moment. Goddard called it creative sleep and said, "If you sleep feeling like the person you want to be, you will wake up living as them." This is not a pretty metaphor. It's neuroscience applied to spirituality. The most powerful moment happens every night, and your subconscious is waiting for new instructions. The question is, are you willing to use it in your favor? Now that you understand the power of the right moment, we arrive at the crucial point of this video, the technique that instantly shifts your vibration. This practice, studied and suggested by Jacobo Grinberg in his consciousness research, is a precise combination of word, emotion, and breath, three elements that, when synchronized, reconfigure your internal reality and, consequently, your external one. This technique is simple but should not be underestimated. Its power lies in how it acts upon the neuronal field, penetrating mental filters and rooting itself at the vibrational level of being. Grinberg argued that the mind not only observes reality, but interacts with the structure of space-time, according to the frequency it emits. And to change that frequency, you must work on your internal state. The first pillar is the word. The words you speak are vibrational activation codes. When uttered with intention, they create neural pathways, activate brain regions, and produce real biochemical changes. But note, repetition is key. Studies show that after 6 focused repetitions of a phrase in a receptive state, the mind lowers its resistance and begins to accept the new suggestion as truth. The recommended phrase here is, "I am a vibrational field of power, confidence, and abundance. Everything is already within me." The second pillar is emotion. The mind doesn't reprogram itself with empty words alone. It responds to the emotional intensity associated with what you affirm. When repeating the phrase, it's essential that you feel every word as real. Imagine, for example, that you are already living that reality. Feel confidence in your body, relief at no longer depending on chance, the joy of knowing everything is aligning. The more real the emotion, the more deeply it's registered. The third pillar is breath. Breath is the link between body and mind. Conscious breathing activates the parasympathetic system, allowing the body to relax, the pineal gland to open, and the neuronal field to become more accessible. The practice consists of inhaling deeply through the nose while visualizing a golden light entering the crown of your head. Hold for 3 seconds, then exhale slowly through the mouth, releasing all fear, doubt, or tension. With each cycle, repeat the phrase mentally with emotion. Ideally, repeat this process for at least 1 minute, preferably in the hypnagogic state, as described in the previous sub-theme. Over time, this practice becomes rooted in your vibrational system, transforming how you perceive the world, and more importantly, how the world responds to you. That is the technique. No secret tucked away in ancient books, no obscure ritual, just word, emotion, and breath used consciously at the perfect moment. Simple, powerful, silenced by many, but now it's in your hands. Knowing the technique is only the beginning. True transformation happens when you integrate it into your routine. The mistake many people make is expecting an instant, permanent shift without understanding that vibration is a dynamic state. Just as the body needs daily nourishment, your frequency needs to be regularly fed and directed. That's where rituals come in, simple yet consistent practices that anchor your new vibration in the real world. The first ritual is the most powerful, the before-bed practice. As we've seen, the hypnagogic state is the vibrational reprogramming window. Set aside 2 to 5 minutes before sleep to apply Grinberg's revealed technique. Breathe deeply. Repeat the chosen phrase with emotion, and visualize the life you want as if it's already real. Falling asleep in this state sends a clear command to your subconscious and prepares your field to align with the new reality upon waking. The second ritual is morning, vibrational alignment upon awakening. In the first minutes after waking, your brain is still in alpha waves, which means it's receptive. Before checking your phone or connecting with the outside world, sit for a moment, breathe deeply and repeat, "I am presence, power, and abundance. Today, everything conspires in my favor." This phrase acts as an energetic seal for your day. It shields your vibration and prevents external influences from disconnecting you from your highest frequency. The third ritual is daily action, coherence with your new vibration. The mind learns more from what you do than what you think. Therefore, to consolidate your reprogramming, you must act like someone who already vibrates in abundance. It's not about pretending, but living with intention. Manage your finances consciously. Make decisions grounded in confidence. Invest in yourself. Small coherent actions reinforce the new vibrational field. The fourth ritual is energetic. Moments of conscious vibrational elevation. Every day, reserve a moment to intentionally raise your frequency. This can be done by listening to music that evokes positive emotion, reading something inspiring, practicing gratitude, or enjoying nature. These energetic pauses prevent you from falling back into old patterns and help stabilize your new vibration. Finally, the fifth ritual is spiritual. Surrender and trust in the process. Transformation doesn't happen under rigid control, but through trust. Release your fears, doubts, and impatience. Whenever anxiety arises, repeat, "I don't need to rush. My vibration is already creating the path." Grinberg understood that reality adjusts not to haste, but to vibrational consistency. The more you repeat these rituals, the more natural they become, and the more inevitable your transformation. Your new reality is already being built, and now you have the tools to sustain it. Now that you know the technique, understand the ideal moment to apply it, and have learned how to keep your vibration elevated day to day, the next step is simple. Act with intention and consistency. Transformation doesn't demand desperate effort, but a quiet commitment to your new self. Don't wait for external signs to begin. Start now, even if it's with 1 minute of conscious breathing before bed. Even if it's a single affirmation spoken with faith upon waking. Small gestures have the power to move great structures when done with presence and conviction. If this content has touched you in any way, subscribe to the channel to keep receiving videos that expand your consciousness and strengthen your vibrational field. Leave a comment below saying, "I activate my original frequency every day." This isn't just a phrase, it's an energetic declaration that reinforces your intention in the field of reality. Share this video with someone you love, someone who needs to remember that power isn't outside, it's within, waiting to be awakened. You are not a spectator of your life, you are the creator. And now, you hold in your hands the technique that can change everything.